Hello and welcome to another episode of Diaspora Network, where we celebrate Nigerians making significant strides around the world. I'm Anna Akinmolayan. On today's program, we take a look at Nigerians in the diaspora who are supporting persons living with mental health challenges by providing access to the resources that they need to live a better life. Our guest is Anna Akinmolayan, an addiction nurse, clinician, and founder of Am Enough Society, a non-governmental organization that offers mental health support to migrants and refugees in Canada. But before that, let's get up to speed on the latest news from the diaspora.
It is my great pleasure to declare, drumroll, Stanley
Nigerian-born Stanley Anigbogu has clinched the overall title of 2025 Commonwealth Young Person of the Year at the annual Commonwealth Youth Awards for Excellence in Development Work. The event, which held at the Marlborough House in London, had in attendance government officials and youth leaders to celebrate the achievements of young people across the Commonwealth. The Anambra State-born founder and CEO of Lighted was recognized for transforming waste into solar innovations that provide clean energy to over 10,000 refugees in Africa. It was a double victory for him, as he also received the top regional award for Africa, earning him a total prize of £5,000. The Commonwealth Youth Awards empower young changemakers from ages 15 to 29 by scaling local innovations and global impact, advancing the Sustainable Development Goals through education, entrepreneurship, sustainability, and inclusivity. Award-winning Nigerian author Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie's new book titled Dream Count has been generating significant buzz. The novel tells the interconnected stories of 4 women exploring themes of identity, the immigrant experience, and societal pressure on women in the United States and Nigeria. Its release marks Chimamanda's return to long-form fiction after 12 years. The book is expected to spark important conversations about identity, culture, and relationships. This is Chimamanda's first full-length novel since the much-loved and acclaimed book Americana in 2013. Before Americana, her Nigeria-Biafra war epic Half of a Yellow Sun, released in 2006, won the Orange Prize for Women's Fiction. She has since written feminist manifestos, essays, short stories, and a children's book. Nigerian-born data and artificial intelligence expert Abel Abo has been appointed as a judge for the British Data Awards 2025, a major event recognizing excellence in data, AI, analytics, and technology across the UK. Abel will be joining a panel of high-profile industry leaders to assess more than 70 entries across 5 major categories, evaluating submissions based on innovation, impact, teamwork, and value creation. The British Awards attracts over 400 entries annually from leading universities and public sector organizations. Abel's selection as judge highlights his contributions and influence in the global data space and reflects the increasing role of data-driven decision-making in various industries. And that's your Diaspora Network News Wrap.
As usual, we've been following the activities of the Nigerians in the Diaspora Commission, or NIDCOM, as they continue to engage citizens both home and abroad through various programs. Let's take a look at some of their latest initiatives.
Chairman of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Mrs. Abike Dabiri Erewas, disclosed that Nigerians living abroad have remitted over $90 billion into the country's economy in the last 5 years. She made this known at a stakeholders engagement organized by the Commission in collaboration with the Nigerian Institute of Social and Economic Research in Abuja to discuss policy measures for harnessing the contributions of Nigerian professionals in the diaspora for national development. She emphasized the importance of evidence-based data to effectively engage and utilize the enormous potential of Nigeria's diaspora population.
We have Nigerians all over the world excelling, doing amazing things. I've been talking about this for a while, and we have to stop paying lip service to that. How do we get them to look back home? How do we get them to be part of the programs and policies of their country, Nigeria. And that is why you have the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission. So breaking them into these six areas and profiling them and coming up with evidence-based data is the fantastic next best step to do. And thank you, NISA, for that initiative for us to partner with you.
The NIDCOM boss also commended Nigerian-born American football player Moro Ojomo, who won the 2025 National Football League Super Bowl with the Philadelphia Eagles in the United States. Mrs. Dabiri Erewa received Ojomo at her office in Abuja.
I also believe that
The football star advocates the need to invest in youths and pledged to do his part through motivation. He also promises to train and bring youths up to speed to compete in the 2028 Olympics.
I think that there's a saying that the grass isn't greener where you go, it's greener where you water it. So I think that we have the opportunity to water it, and I also believe that where you are in your life is because of the opportunities that you've been given, and the people pour into you. Now you have an opportunity to pour into the other people. I think that's the steps that we will take.
In our special report this week, we shine the spotlight on some individuals and organisations who are providing intervention and services in pursuit of wellness through health policy reforms, advocacy, rehabilitation and care.
According to the World Health Organization (WHO), mental health is a state of well-being that enables people to cope with the stress of life, realize their abilities, learn well, work well, and contribute to their community. The sector remains one of the most critical yet overlooked aspects of public health, affecting millions of people worldwide. In addition to government efforts to address this challenge, mental health awareness sits at the heart of many non-profits' primary mission. These organizations, such as the National Alliance on Mental Health, United for Global Mental Health, Anxiety and Depression Association of America, and many others, are working to dismantle stigma, provide critical support, and advocate for adequate care. Although they differ in their approach and specialize in different aspects of mental health, they all strive to educate the public, support affected individuals, and influence policies to ensure a more inclusive and effective healthcare system. The Nigeria diaspora community is also playing its part through the establishment of NGOs both individually and communally to address the unique mental health challenges that migrants face abroad and at home. Victor Ugo founded the Mentally Aware Nigeria Initiative, MANI, a youth-focused non-governmental organization working to end the stigma and discrimination attached to mental health in Nigeria and the rest of Africa. With over 1,500 youth volunteers championing the cause, MANI is creating an environment that makes it easy for people to seek help without fear of discrimination. The organization won the 2017 Nelson Mandela Graça Machel Innovation Award for the Best Civil Society Organization. Among other first-of-its-kind projects that Victor has worked on is the setting up of the most active distress hotlines in Nigeria, with over 15,000 interventions in 28 months.
In the context of Nigeria, you rarely find the kind of supportive system for someone that has a mental health issue. But I had very amazing friends and a support system that actually made it possible for me to see through that difficult time in my life. And that was essentially the inspiration behind me starting up my organization, Mentally Aware Nigeria Initiative, because I was looking to create that kind of community that I had for myself. I wanted to replicate that for other young people across Nigeria and across Africa. And till today, we've had like the most amazing growth. We're the largest user-led youth mental health organization in Nigeria, one of the biggest ones in Africa as well. We have more than 1,500 volunteers on the ground across 18 states in the country, which is amazing. A fantastic online presence as well on social media, which is very interactive. We co-create programs with young people, programs that get them interested in talking about mental health. So we have conversation cafes in very lush places like the beach and the park and waterfronts.
Victor also serves as Nigerian representative for the Global Mental Health Peer Network, as well as the Nigerian lead for the United for Global Mental Health Country Lead Advocacy and Policy campaign, Speak Your Mind.
It's not a crisis test line.
Another Nigerian-owned organization dedicated to supporting this cause is the Nigerian Mental Health, founded by Chime Asonye, a lawyer and development practitioner. The organization is a multidisciplinary community of practitioners with over 30 mental health-focused organizations working to advance policy advocacy, research and wellness programming both in Nigeria and abroad. Chima previously served as an innovation manager at COVID Action, a United Kingdom Foreign Commonwealth Development Office-led consortium supporting pandemic response in Africa and South Asia. Before COVID Action, he worked as the advocacy manager at partnership initiatives in the Niger Delta. Chima received a Bachelor of Arts degree in Political Science and Philosophy from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. He is also a Juris Doctor from Northwestern University Pritzker School of Law. These and many more individuals, through their organizations, are offering support through funding, resources, and educational programs to improve the holistic well-being of people across the globe.
Now let's move our focus to our guest, Anna Akinmolayan, a passionate clinician based in Canada.
Hi, my name is Anna.
Anna Akinmolayan hails from Ondo Town in Ondo State, southwest Nigeria. She was born in Lagos, where she attended Learning Field Primary School and Command Day Secondary School. She graduated from Middlesex University, London in 2007 and earned her nurse prescriber qualification from King's College, London. With over 17 years' experience as a mental health nurse, Anna dedicated 12 years to the National Health Service, United Kingdom, before moving to Vancouver, Canada in 2019 as an international recruit. Since then, she has specialized in addiction and concurrent disorder service and presently works as an addiction nurse clinician with Vancouver Coastal Health and Fraser Health Authority. Her passion for mental health advocacy birthed the I'm Enough Society, a non-governmental organization that provides accessible, culturally sensitive, and comprehensive mental health support to migrants and refugees in Canada. The organization prioritizes fostering a welcoming and inclusive environment where individuals from diverse backgrounds can access the resources, guidance, and care that they need to achieve mental well-being, build resilience, and thrive in their new home. Through advocacy, education, and community partnerships, her organization is breaking barriers, reducing stigma, and ensuring migrants have the opportunity to lead a fulfilling and emotionally healthy life. Anna's dedication has not gone unnoticed. She was recently honored with the King Charles III Coronation Medal for outstanding service to her community.
And I was told that this nomination came from the community, which, is even more rewarding, to be honest with you. It's not just a recognition for me, but it's for everyone who's contributed to what we do through Enough Society. So, I'm very humbled by it. It reflects the collective impact that our work and how deeply it resonates with the people in the community as to how we support them. It reminds me that leadership is about service, and real change can happen when people come together and share a vision. So knowing that multiple voices in the community felt moved by what I do, and they forwarded my name for this award, meant a lot to me. This recognition has given me a renewed sense of purpose and responsibility to push for policy change, stronger community, and a greater awareness around the issue that we address. It also motivated me to inspire others, especially the younger generation, to set up and become a change maker in their own way. So I'm truly honored about this. I just feel it's a step towards the right direction for me, and it just motivates me to want to do more. I've been a nurse for 17 years. I trained in the UK and I worked in different mental health settings. I moved to Canada about 5 years ago, and I saw the gap in addiction among marginalized community. And I then recognized that there is the culturally appropriate care that is lacking, and a lot of newcomers, new migrants, and refugees from different cultural background are struggling in this area. So in terms of like addiction, I was employed into addiction. I never had a big experience of it, but then I saw the gap in culturally appropriate care, and that's what resonated to me to provide non-judgmental care and to advocate for people within the marginalized community. Coming from a Nigerian background, as you might be aware, your mental health and addiction are often topics that carry stigma, and they're greatly misunderstood. There's a tendency to attribute addiction or even mental health to like moral failure or spiritual weakness. Because as you know, in Nigeria, we're very spiritual. Um, it should rather be recognized as a complex health issue as opposed to a moral failure or a spiritual weakness. So my upbringing has shaped my cultural sensitive approach to care. It helps me understand that addressing addiction requires education, awareness, and community involvement to break the circle of that stigma. Cultural competence is critical because people from different background experience and express addiction in different ways. Without a culturally appropriate care, many individuals may not seek help, or they might disengage from treatment. This is why at Aminoff, we prioritize culturally appropriate mental health support, ensuring that people feel heard, understood, and respected. From my experience, addiction among migrants is often underreported, but it's very, very prevalent. Factors contributing to this include isolation and lack of community support. That's why we do what we do to raise that awareness. There's also cultural stigma around addiction. Back home in Nigeria, when people are addicted, they're usually like socially isolated from the community, and they feel like they bring shame to their family. So these are like one of the factors. Language barrier also limit access to services. I've worked with people who would tell me they haven't been able to book an appointment or see a doctor because they don't understand the doctor's accent, or they feel like they don't speak good enough English to be understood. So we've supported people around that, like going for appointments with them and helping them understand what's being communicated. One of the factors that could influence addiction is also like trauma in the past, including war and displacement or abuse. And then economic challenges leading to stress. A lot of people use substance use as a coping mechanism because they want to just forget about the stress or about the trauma that they've experienced, and they use drugs or alcohol to cope. So these are some of the factors that contribute to addiction among like the migrants that we work with. One of the myths is migrants don't struggle with addiction. Now that is not true. Many migrants do struggle with addiction. However, stigma and lack of culturally appropriate resources prevent them from seeking help. And some people, another myth is like addiction is a choice. I've heard people saying, "Oh, you chose to use drugs." The reality is, that's not the case. Addiction is a health condition, and it could be influenced by trauma or genetics or the environment. People get influenced. Another thing is only illegal drugs can cause addiction. Again, that is not true. The reality is alcohol and some prescription medication can also lead to addiction, and they're very common too. I focus on education, compassion, and advocacy. Through Aminoff Society, we've created a safe space for dialogue. I offer people confidential line to speak to me, speak to any member of our team regarding addiction. We offer support groups as well. And we work with like cultural leader or community leaders to shift mindsets. By normalizing a conversation around addiction, we help to reduce and encourage people to seek help. I could share one that I had with actually a newcomer. So I had an experience that stands out for me actually. There was this newcomer who was struggling with opioid addiction. His friend had offered him some fentanyl, or like, heroin, and he became addicted to it. But he was afraid to seek help due to fear of being deported. He said, if I go seek help for my addiction, I might be deported. However, through like our culturally appropriate care and advocacy, we were able to connect him to treatment and at the same time ensuring that his rights is protected. Seeing him rebuild his life was a powerful reminder that the work that we do is very important. We always say that recovery is a journey, it's not a destination. It requires compassion, patience, and ongoing support. I don't think anyone's chosen to be addicted, but everyone deserves the opportunity to heal. I've worked with people who feel they failed because they stop using drugs and then they relapse. And my reassurance is it's actually a journey. Going through relapse is part of your recovery. Just give yourself grace. One of our biggest challenges, funding. we need money. Funding for like culturally appropriate programs is one of the biggest challenges that we are going through. And also trying to actually overcome stigma in the migrant community. It's so ingrained in their belief. Having to deal with that is so challenging as well. Ensuring access to service for non-English speakers, sorry, because there are people here, we not only support Nigerian community, we support other community as well, like the Farsi community, the Eritrean community. There are people who English is in their first language. Some of the challenges that we face is helping them access service because they don't speak the language. But we are always reaching out to volunteers around those communities to come work with us so they can support these people in attending appointments. So some of the solution is we've been applying for grants and we seek community partnership to expand our services. We engage with like community leaders and cultural leaders to help break stigma as well. So they're sending that message among their community. And we offer language accessibility resources to make services more inclusive. I prioritize self-care. There are times that I kind of like I know myself because if I'm preaching mental health, then I have to also look after number one. So I prioritize self-care. I set boundaries. I also use mentorship to support myself. I have mentors, people I speak to when I feel like I'm struggling. My faith, my community, my family help me stay grounded. I also believe in seeking for help too, or seeking for support, because that's something I encourage my clients to do. So if I need help, I also ask for help. In countries like Nigeria, where drugs is illegal, addiction must balance public health approach with legal framework. So my recommendation would be shifting focus from punishment to treatment. Addiction should be treated as a health condition, not a criminal offense. Expanding rehabilitation and counseling service instead of solely being punitive towards people who are struggling with addiction. I would also recommend that the government invest in prevention and education. Like public awareness campaign should educate people on substance use, the risk of substance use, and then the mental health support or any harm reduction, and making that kind of like within a legal boundary. Training healthcare professional in addiction care. I've worked with, or I've seen some Nigerian trained nurses within mental health that has no idea what addiction is. Again, I would recommend that mental health support is expanded in Nigeria, and encourage community-based support system. Given that stigma is associated to drug use, cultural sensitive group, support group, faith groups should start talking about things like this, making this topic a normal conversation. And that would really help reduce the isolation and encourage people to seek help. So I would say addiction is not a moral failing. It's a health issue, and everyone deserves a compassionate, accessible, culturally appropriate care. At Aminoff, we are committed to breaking that barrier and creating a world where everyone feels seen, listened, and empowered.
And that wraps up another episode of Diaspora Network. Remember, you can find more amazing stories of Nigerians making their mark on the global stage on our YouTube channel and website, channelstv.com. Until next time, I'm Juliana Olayinka. Bye for now.